The Arctic may have crossed key threshold, emitting billions of tons of carbon into the air, in a long-dreaded climate feedback.
Here's a summary of the article.
The Arctic is undergoing a profound, rapid and unmitigated shift into a new climate state, one that is greener, features far less ice and emits greenhouse gas emissions from melting permafrost, according to a major new federal assessment of the region released Tuesday. The findings are contained in the 2019 Arctic Report Card, a major federal assessment of climate change trends and impacts throughout the region. There has been concern throughout the scientific community that the approximately 1,460 billion to 1,600 billion metric tons of organic carbon stored in frozen Arctic soils, almost twice the amount of greenhouse gases as what is contained in the atmosphere, could be released as the permafrost melts. Warming temperatures allow microbes within the soil to convert permafrost carbon into the greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide and methane, which can be released into the air and accelerate warming. Taking advantage of the new studies, one on regional carbon emissions from permafrost in Alaska during the warm season, and another on winter season emissions in the Arctic compared to how much carbon is absorbed by vegetation during the growing season, the report concludes that permafrost ecosystems could be releasing as much as 1.1 billion to 2.2 billion tons of carbon per year. The broader Arctic report card shows the region is undergoing extensive changes in the marine environment as well as frozen lands. We fear for our young people, we worry that they will grow without the same foods and places that we have known throughout our lives, says a chapter written by a group of indigenous representatives in the Arctic Report Card.
This post received a score of 25,022, with an upvote ratio of 92%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
This might be a stupid question, but does the extra plant mass counteract the emitted CO2 at all?
The people who said, "we don't know," are wrong. I've honestly seen people talking about suicide because of things like this they've seen. Contextualizing the scale of the permafrost problem. People are asking about the balance of carbon dioxide vs methane emitted from melting permafrost, since methane is a more potent greenhouse gas.
Thanks. This helps me and my anxiety immensely. I work for a regulatory agency as an environmental engineer and I struggle with this stuff constantly. To what extent do you think geoengineering will play a factor in mitigation?
I hope there's some way we can harvest the methane and CO2 in the atmosphere. Trees and phytoplankton obviously help, but it won't be enough. We're going to have to come up with a way to artificially capture greenhouse gases in our lifetime.
Controlled phytoplankton pools where growth is maximized through careful fertilization and filtering excess phytoplankton so it doesn't become a toxic bloom. The captured phytoplankton cut is a cheap source of carbon with a net production of oxygen.
Is that a real thing people are working on?
People have been working on it since 2013.
When I was a kid I wanted my life to be like an action movie. I didn't expect it to be Mad Max.
Probably going to be more like The Road TBH. God, that's depressing. What's even the point?
I have a hard time not thinking this way too with all this news and whatnot. The point for me is finding and seeing the beauty that exists and that will continue to exist in this world, whatever that may be to you. Nothing in the universe is forever, but life always has found a way, despite humankind's best efforts. Hope that helps.
If it's not already too late, it's starting to feel like at the very, very least, these next few years of movements and elections are our last hope at staving off worst-case scenarios for climate crisis. I used to be very angry about the cards my generation was dealt, but now I've started to realize how selfish that is, and every generation after mine will have it worse. With far greater severity than what we experience, they'll face horrifying natural disasters, calamitous breakdowns in farming, food supplies and drinking sources, and unimaginable political strife when 1/3 of the planet's population are refugees. Those future generations will laugh at the so-called plight of my generation and will hold us in complete contempt for our inability to act in this very moment.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.